We're still talking football on the SportsMax Zone with the 17th edition of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, a mere 5 days from starting. The Reggae Boyz, Jamaica's national men's football team, have named their 23-man squad for the competition. The Reggae Boyz will be involved in kicking off the competition on Saturday as they face joint host the United States. And there's the Jamaica squad. Goalkeepers Blake, Waite and Boyce Clark. The defenders Bell, Pinnock, Bernard, Mariappa, Lembikisa, Damian Lowe, Javane Brown, Mar Lawrence. In midfield there's Russell, Latiguier, Lambert, Reed, Johnson and Cain Paris. Bailey Nicholson, Antonio, Burke, Richards and Damari Gray are the men on the front end responsible for trying to get some goals. So a team here that has 5 English Premier League players. Don't think we've ever seen that, Ricardo, in the history of Jamaica's international football, for that matter, any CFU team.
Yeah, 5 English Premier League players, but one of them adult for the Gold Cup, and that is Ethan Pinnock. Massive concern for me, as we pointed out last week, because before the game against Qatar, the coach had pointed out why a number of the key players were not in Austria. Ethan Pinnock was among those. Of course, his wife had given birth to their 4th child. Apparently, there are some complications with her, and he is staying in England until those have been sorted out, and so will not travel to the United States of America to join with the team until things are relatively clear that his wife will be okay and his child will be okay as well. So that could be a massive miss for the Jamaicans, Lance, if Ethan Pinnock is unable to join up with the squad for the tournament. And as things stand, it looks increasingly unlikely that he will be available for that opening game against the United States of America.
Yeah, well, coming out of World Cup qualifiers, the Reggae Boyz haven't turned up to be one of the best CONCACAF teams. But because in the past decade they have reached 2 finals and they are in a position now where reaching the semi-finals of a CONCACAF Gold Cup is nothing surprising for the Jamaica squad. So when you look at this roster, based on the quality of the roster, we know that football isn't played on paper. Are there any genuine hopes that this Jamaica football team can produce its best ever Gold Cup showing and actually win it all?
Well, before I even talk about genuine hopes, Lance, I just want to look at a few of my concerns, and I would love to get that graphic again looking at the squad. So now I have a massive concern about the back line. If Ethan Pinnock is not there, who I think is probably our best defender, definitely our best central defender, Damian Lowe has been injured in recent weeks and is being monitored closely leading into the tournament. So at this stage, we're not even 100% sure as to what his fitness level will be at for the tournament. That concerns me. Adrian Mariappa is getting up in age, and if you watched the game against Jordan, of course he was playing 90 minutes for a 2nd consecutive game, but you have to wonder about his ability to play long periods. We even saw in the Nations League against Mexico, I think he came on, if memory serves me correct. So the coach hasn't really been looking to play him full matches, and definitely, as the coach pointed out in a press conference today, he wouldn't be looking to play him in back-to-back matches. So that defensive line is a massive concern for me going into the tournament. We've had an issue with scoring goals, Lance. To me, there's no real issue as far as the front line is concerned. Well, I would love to see Shamar Nicholson put away more of his opportunities. I think for a striker at his level, he is not as clinical as I would like him to be. And I've thought that through the World Cup qualifying, the Nations League, and seeing him in the game against Jordan today. So that concerns me as well. There's no doubt that the front line has a lot of quality. Whether they'll be able to put it together is another thing. As you pointed out, Lance, I think it comes down to expectations. If you expect this Jamaican team to go and win the Gold Cup, then I think you may end up disappointed. Would getting to the semi-finals be a good achievement? I think so. I think so. If we won it, I would be surprised, not because I don't think we have the quality per se, but I given the defensive issues I expect, and given the relative lack of playing together,
yes,
I think there could be problems there, but there's no doubt that there's a lot of talent in the squad, especially up front.
Yeah, is Coach Hal Grimson under any pressure here, Ricardo, because he's still winless since he's taken over the job?
But he says he puts himself under pressure. That's what he said at today's press conference, that he puts himself under a lot of pressure.
Yes.
And hopefully the fact that he hasn't won in 7 will change come the Gold Cup, which is the perfect time for it to change, by the way. Will not be easy, but I fully expect Jamaica to get out of the first round. It would be a massive disappointment if we did not get out of the first round. If Jamaica did not get out of the first round, Trinidad and Tobago, I'm sure they will have hopes of doing that as well. There's a qualifier to be in that group. But yeah, there's also Demarai Gray. Great to see him in the lineup, Lance. It is unfortunate that his paperwork didn't come through before now, so he could have been involved in this 2-match series against Qatar and Jordan. But he is there now, and he does add depth to what I suspect will be a front 3 when the Jamaicans get to the Gold Cup.
Yes.
And as the coach pointed out in the press conference today, it also puts a little bit of pressure on the others to ensure that you're always at your best, because as he says, there are going to be players not happy when the starting lineup is revealed for each game.
Yeah, and of course there are other Caribbean Football Union teams playing on Tuesday to try to get into the main draw, among them Guyana and St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis scheduled to play French Guyana, and the Ghana team will be up against Guadeloupe. So Guadeloupe playing Guyana, French Guyana will be up against St. Kitts and Nevis, and Martinique play Puerto Rico. Those are the last 3 games in the prelims of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. The winners will advance to the main draw, which we just spoke about. Back with more on the SportsMax Zone after this.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.